Okay, friends, I show noon. We will call this meeting of the Human Services Committee to order. I think all members are present. Thank you for being here, members. The first item is the approval of the agenda. The Chair will entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Commissioner Snell, supported by Commissioner Bear. All in favor will please say aye or show the sign.
Aye.
Appears to pass unanimously. Thank you. Next item is public comment. Each individual state their name and 3 minutes to address the board. Do we have public comment?
We do. We have two, a Sandra Hoffman Kingston and a Zoe Lyons.
Very good. Sandra Hoffman Kingston, please go ahead.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes, thank you.
Sorry. My name is Sandra Hoffman Kingston. I live in Summit Township. I wanted to share with you, I had an email conversation, a very short one with Mr. Overton over the weekend. He asked me a question about ideas for what the county could actually do.
Just allow them to speak. Okay.
I'm sorry. Am I interrupting somebody? So I sent a list of things to Mr. Overton, and he sent me a very short reply back, but it did indicate that he would be willing to talk about it. I think as far as the anti-discrimination committee and that work, my email addressed some concerns. I did consult with some other folks that I know in the area about it. There's a lot of different things that can be done. He indicated that some of the things on the list that I sent are already in place, but I'd like to get more information about that. So Mr. Overton, I see that you are here. If there's a possibility that we could get together and talk, I would like to be helpful and possibly look for some actionable items that are within the purview of the county's government. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now Zoe Lyons, please.
Good afternoon. I actually do not have public comment. I was confused about how to get in the meeting.
I wondered as much, but wanted to give you the chance, Zoe.
Yep, thank you so much. I will be on mute until you need me.
Very good. Thank you. Any further public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to committee items. Next committee item is approval of minutes from the last meeting. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes. I see Commissioner Snell, supported by Commissioner Williams. Thank you. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye or the sign. Appears to pass unanimously. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is appointments. There are several appointments open this month. The first is a series of members of the Lifeways Board. We have 3 current members, and those 3 current members are reapplying. We will need nominations, or at the pleasure of the committee, the chair will entertain a motion with respect to these openings. Commissioner Bear, please.
I would move that we reappoint Jeff Peterson, Melissa Callison, and Edward Woods to the Lifeways.
I see support by, thank you for the motion, say support by Commissioner Mahoney. Any discussion on the motion? An excellent motion, by the way, thank you. Very good. All in favor of the motion to appoint the 3 current members of Lifeways to their existing spots, please indicate by aye or the thumbs up. Appears to pass unanimously. Thank you, members. And now on to the Veterans Affairs Board, there is an opening, and we have one applicant, and I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce his name, Mr. William Hoigbarth. Chair will entertain a motion for nominations. Commissioner Bear.
I move that we appoint William Hoigtbart, apologize if that's not pronounced right.
Very good.
To the Veterans Affairs Board.
Thank you for the nomination. Are there any further nominations? Any further nominations? All in favor of Mr. Hoigbarth, please indicate by thumbs up or aye. Appears to pass unanimously. Thank you, members. He will go on to the board as our recommendation, as will the members of Lifeways who are nominated today. I am advised that the Lifeways report, which comes up next, is we do not have a member from Lifeways to present the report. If there are any questions by members of the committee with respect to the report, we'll be glad to take them and forward them on to Lifeways. Any questions? Thank you. Then we'll move on to the DHHS quarterly report. And I think we heard Zoe Lyons earlier. Zoe, we're glad to hear you today now.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me with you today. I just want to give you an update on what we've been working on as a department. So I'm going to be maybe not looking straight at my computer so I can read through our report, which you all should have a copy of as well. First, our Child Care Fund update. We're almost halfway through our state's fiscal year and are doing well within our budget. As you may know, we have significantly decreased the number of children that we have in foster care over the last couple of years. We have been sitting somewhere just over about 200, and we were previously over 325 for a number of years. So I think lots of people question whether this is COVID related. And I would say there's really no way we can be certain of that. However, our numbers have been steadily going down for 2 years, not just the last year of COVID. So it is something that we are remaining focused on. We also have decreased the numbers of children who are in residential placement, which, as you've heard me say probably many times over the years, is not the best place that we want to have our kids, because we want them to be in our community in family-like settings. And the cost is very high for children to be in residential placements. And so we are currently at 15 children in residential placements, down from 42 at our high a couple of years ago. So all of that helps to keep our child care fund within budget as well. So we're happy to continue that work. Follow up on holiday assistance. I know it's already March, but we had a miscommunication around the December meeting, and we didn't get to say this out loud. So I just want to thank our community for the support that they give us during our Angel Tree program during the holidays. This year, we were able to provide gifts for over 1,150 children in the Jackson community, because we have support from our business and families and our churches in the community. And we listed some of our major donors out in the report. H.B. Fuller, CertainTeed, St. Demetrius Orthodox Church, First United Methodist Church, Armor Fitness, our Department of Corrections, Tenneco Automotive, Courtney Finnerty, who is an individual who has been a huge support to us, and Oasis of Love Full Gospel Church are some of our major donors. So we publicly thank them for the support that they give us during the holiday season. For our cash assistance, food assistance, and Medicaid programs, all of these programs are programs that help our families in crisis, and certainly COVID-19 has increase the need of families in our community. Specifically, food assistance has been something that we want to make sure that everybody knows is an available option for people to apply for. Food insecurity is one of the things that as a community we've been working on throughout this pandemic time. And of course, Medicaid is certainly something that folks will need, especially if they happen to get sick. So, and then we're starting to see some increases in requests for state emergency relief. That helps families with things like utility shutoffs and evictions and other things such as automobile repairs so that they can get to work and things of that nature. So, so we continue to stay very busy in that part of our agency as well. I've talked a little bit in the past about our race equity and diversity, equity, inclusion work within our department. Jackson is part of an anti-racism team with Kent County and our state office to work on the overrepresentation of children of color in the child welfare system. We actually started with a focus on foster care and have realized that foster care is sort of at the end of the child welfare system. And so we need to really move to the front end and look at what calls are actually coming into our intake system and how can we ensure that equity is involved in those decisions. We also have created a DEI team in our office over the last year. So we've done a lot of learning on race equity in addition to things like ageism. And we're learning about the LGBTQIA community and the ABLE community to just really be inclusive, not only for our staff, but also for our community as they come into our office to seek assistance. And part of that work has allowed me to work within our community. So you might see in the notes that I'm really proud that we have had 200 members of the Jackson community that have attended a one-day introduction to systemic racism session that was provided by Erase out of Kalamazoo. It was through the partnership of our nonprofit network and lots of our community agencies that we were able to provide that training in December, January, and February. So our next step will be to kind of come together with offer some opportunities for those folks who have attended the training so we can keep moving forward in this work. And then finally, what I try to do every time I submit a report is send to an attachment so that you can see how both myself and my staff members participate in things that are happening in the community. So we're part of lots of groups. We do lots of volunteer work. And we just like you as commissioners to see how we're engaged with our community in addition to the work that we do in our office. And with that, I would say that's my report. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Are there questions of Zoe? Not seeing any hands raised. Zoe, excellent job as always. Thank you for the work that you and your crew do in helping folks here in Jackson County.
Thank you so much.
The next item on the agenda is the Medical Care Facility Quarterly Report. Help me out here, Mike. Am I not seeing anybody
It looks
from the
like
Medical
she
Care?
just joined.
I can say I see Destiny on here.
Ah, there she is.
Hello, I apologize. I was under the regular attendees there for a moment. Okay, so for you guys, I will be referencing the administrator's quarterly report, which is kind of a synopsis report for you of all of the different areas throughout the last quarter. So I'm going to start with finance. So financials for November showed a net loss of $44,000, which is better than budget by $65,000, as the facility had budgeted for a net loss of $109,000 for the month of November. Revenue was better than budget by $240,000, $2,000. Expenses were over budget by $177,000. Our average census was 184, which equaled our budgeted census for the month of November. For the month of December, financials for December show a net loss of $277,000, which was greater than budget by $229,000, as the facility had budgeted for a net loss of $48,000 for the month of December. Revenue was better than budget by $620,000, and expenses were over budget by $849,000. $636,000 of this was attributed to the overall cost of COVID testing for 2020. So at that time, our vendor that we used for our testing, which was required on a weekly basis, and during the month of November and December became twice a week, billed us for the entire year in December. So that's where you're seeing that big impact there. This cost is reimbursable by the state of Michigan. However, because the vendor didn't bill us until December, we weren't able to get that reimbursement until this year. The average census was 157, which was lower than budget by 27 beds. And I do want to explain this to everyone. During the month of December, we had a COVID outbreak here at the facility. Our COVID team met and discussed whether continuing to do admissions during the month of December while we were in an outbreak status was the safest thing to do. And as a team, we made the decision that we needed to stop admissions to focus on making sure that we could get the COVID outbreak under control. That had a huge impact on our overall census during the month of December, and I'll talk about that just a little bit more later here in my report. For January, financials for January showed a net loss of $124,000, which was better than budget by $143,000, as we had budgeted for a net loss of $267,000 for the month of January. And again, this was mainly attributed to the census being so low going into the month of January and the need to build that census back up. Revenue was better than budget by $161,000. This is the result of additional grant money that was received in January. Expenses were over budget by $18,000, and this is mainly attributed to nursing overtime, but that cost was offset by savings in other departments. The average census was 151, which was less than budget by 6 beds. So we have made the determination that we need to amend the budget for the month of February. And that amendment has already taken place during the board meeting to amend the budgeted census for both February and March, as our current growth rate was not matching our previous predictions. If you have this report in front of you, if you go to page 2, you can see what our census trend line looked like during the month of, or during the year of 2020. There's a red box that shows when COVID began, and a purple box that shows when our outbreak here at the facility began. And that's when we made that determination that accepting new residents, while we weren't sure how this was spreading, was a risk and a liability to the facility, and chose not to take any new admissions during that time. So you can see that purple box, and it rolled over into January. However, we did start readmitting residents on December 29th. As at that time, we were towards the tail end of our outbreak status, and we felt that we could safely bring residents in at that time. Also in that 2020 census, I'm sorry, it says 2020, it should say 2021, I apologize for that. The second graph that you have there, it shows a green line, which was what we had budgeted for census, showing that we had budgeted a lower amount for the first 3 months of the year, knowing it would take time to build back up to what our average census normally is. And then that pink line shows the new, that new budgeted census that we made in those budget amendments. As far as COVID-19 goes, we were in outbreak status from October 26th through February 8th. So outbreak status means any case for a resident or a staff member during that time. We had active resident cases from November 24th through January 6th. And that's when we placed admissions on hold November 24th through December 29th to ensure resident safety. Our current cumulative test results since the beginning of the pandemic is 61 positive residents with 5,386 negative test results and 65 positive care partners with 12,287 negative test results. We also were in a season of contract negotiations towards the end of the year. So this last quarter, we had 2 contracts that were negotiated, one with AFSCME 139 and one with AFSCME 2098A. AFSCME 139 represents our service line workers, so all of our CNAs, dietary, housekeeping, and laundry staff. And then AFSCME 2098A represents our LPNs and our health unit coordinators. So we negotiated 2 contracts as well as wage reopeners for M&A, which is written in their contract for an annual wage reopener. And M&A represents our RNs. So we do have 1 outstanding grievance that's set to go to arbitration for M&A regarding the placement of RN bids. We also had a grievance related to the posting of the seniority list, and that has since been resolved. We have no outstanding grievances from AFSCME 2098A and 1 request to go to arbitration from AFSCME 139 regarding the termination of a care partner. I also included in here our mandation trends. So this is the amount of times that we've had to mandate overtime. So for CNAs and for nurses, so you can see our trend line graph from January of 2020 through January of this year. So the blue line there represents the number of call-ins that we've had per month, and the orange line represents the number of mandated shifts that we've mandated care partners to work during that month. So although we did see some growth in that during the months of October, November, and December, it still remained quite a bit below the number of call-ins that we had. And a lot of this had to do with staff that had tested positive for COVID. And it was important that we made sure that we covered those shifts to make sure the residents were cared for. But it also increased the amount of mandatory overtime overall. In addition, in December, we had our facility infection control survey. We did receive 1 citation regarding infection control. This had to do with the completeness of screening logs at our front desk, where individuals did not fill out all of the blanks on the screening logs, and a citation having to do with hand hygiene because 1 individual was observed picking up a piece of paper off the floor while wearing gloves, but did not change their gloves prior to entering the resident's room. They also had a question on how we were using gloves when we were passing trays. These citations were cleared in a desk review by the state of Michigan. Currently, we're ranked as a 4-star facility. We are rated 5 stars in quality and 5 stars in our staffing component of the CMS 5-star rating. Currently, we still continue to have 2 stars in our survey rating, and this is something that we can't improve until our next annual survey, which should be coming at any time. Antipsychotic use is slightly below state and national averages. Our QMs, our quality measures, are in good positions. And then we continue to have numerous quality projects, including those around hand hygiene and donning and doffing of PPE, as infection control is obviously one of our biggest areas of focus at this time. And that concludes my report. Any questions that I can answer for you at this time?
Questions from members for the medical care facility? Commissioner Williams, please.
Thank you. Just one quick question. In your presentation, I believe that you mentioned that there was that you were planning to amend your budget, and I was wondering if those were already made available to commissioners, or have you not amended those yet?
That was just decided in the February board meeting, so we have not officially amended it. We just had the approval of the board to amend the budget.
Okay, Thank you. That's the only question I had.
Thank you. Destiny, I had one question. You had mentioned the 600,000 of unusual costs that occurred in December. And if I look at the January financials, it doesn't look like that revenue has yet been picked up. Am I correct in seeing that? Will that
That
come
is
in a future
correct.
month?
That is correct. So we submitted it for reimbursement, but they had some additional questions because the amount of the reimbursement request was so far and above what we had requested in the past, that they asked for some additional documentation.
Okay. So you got a little bit of upside there, but you've still got to convince them that the reimbursement is appropriate. Any further questions for the medical care facility? Thank you, Destiny, for coming today. I hope one of these days we get to see you without a mask and a helmet.
Oh, I would love that as well. It's kind of warm.
I can imagine. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Mhm.
Next item on the agenda is the medical examiner's request to increase the administrative assistant from part-time to full-time. There is a staff report from Dr. Mano. Who will be presenting this, please?
I believe Sarah's on the line, and I'll chime in as necessary.
Can you hear
Very
me?
good. Yes, we can hear you. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you for, giving me this honor to be able to speak to you guys today. As some of you are aware, I don't know if all of you are, in 2020, the medical examiner's office for Jackson County has had a lot of big changes. One of those being that the longtime office manager retired. She had been here, I believe, 28 years. So at the same time in Lenawee County, we were losing our morgue due to the closure of Bixby Medical Center. So we put together a plan, or I guess a partnership, you may want to call it, with the three counties, Hillsdale County, Lenawee County, and Jackson County. Lenawee Hillsdale now brings all of their autopsies up to the morgue here, which is where I'm at. I've worked for Lenawee County for the summer will be 22 years. So it was decided at that point, the administration for the counties got together and we developed that partnership. So we also have in this office, it was originally set up as a part-time position that is filled by a gentleman that's also has been a past employee for the medical examiner's office. And we discovered very quickly that with the amount of bodies now coming into the morgue, that we didn't feel like we had sufficient man hours to take care of all of the work. So Jackson County on its own was already a very busy county in the medical examiner's office. But then you add two more counties with somewhat similar with both of the counties together, similar population, about 140 to 145,000 people. So that not only that, in Lenawee and Hillsdale and Jackson counties for the medical examiner's office had record year in 2020 for amount of cases. So in 2020, just from June through December, Lenawee Hillsdale brought 89 additional bodies into the morgue. And that's just not counting Jackson County had 139 in the same time frame. So beyond just the ins and outs of the morgue, I mean, we have many other responsibilities that we take care of. And we felt that it was very difficult to accomplish what we needed to accomplish here without more hours for the part-time position. It was originally 29 hours, and we are asking for that position to be full-time.
Okay, thank you for the presentation, Sarah.
If I may chime in.
Yes, Mike, go ahead, please.
Just to reiterate a little bit here, as Sarah indicated, we have a joint venture with 3 counties now, Initially, we thought, well, they have a full-time person down in the Lenawee area, and we have a full-time person up here. Perhaps there's some synergies, some savings to be had as far as the workflow and so forth. And we would go with one person and a part-time person. As Sarah indicated, it became clear rather quickly that, and partly due to the extenuating circumstances of 2020, but nonetheless, the workload is there. We do believe that it is well warranted to have 2 full-time people, which again is only what we had with 2 separate entities. We still use a number of investigators and casuals out in the field when there's a death on scene, crash, or what have you, all kinds of different events. And we've done the math. We're looking at, we of course share the cost with the other 2 counties, and it works out to about $12,000 additional dollars from Jackson County. So I would highly encourage you to approve this increase from this position, because he works 29 hours now and this will take him to full time. And it's well warranted, and he is also a very valuable employee.
Yes, yes.
Questions from members of the committee, please. Commissioner Bear.
Where will this additional money come out of our budget from? What's the source of the additional money?
This is funded through general fund.
Do we have the money there to pay this?
We pretty much don't have a choice, but yes.
So Mike, it would be also fair to say that we have, this doesn't generate any incremental revenue by virtue of more work that they're doing. It's just that the work needs more hours to get done. That's what you're saying.
That's correct. We're still, by the way, just for everyone's benefit, and I haven't done the total math, but we still, the operation today costs us less than the operation did in the past. Remember, we were doing it all by ourselves. All of our infrastructure and everything was on Jackson. Now the cost is shared over 3 counties. That it is our fixed costs are shared. The variable costs still are split up between the individual counties. So we're still ahead of the curve.
Further questions by members of the committee, please. I'm sorry, I didn't see Daniel. There he is. Daniel, I beg your pardon. Commissioner Mahoney.
That's okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a very quick question for you, Sarah, and I may have missed this. It may have came from Michael already, or somebody might have asked. I'm just curious if the other 2 counties have already agreed to this increase.
Yeah, it's my understanding they have, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Chair will entertain a motion to adopt the administration recommendation to go to full-time on the medical examiner's office. Seeing a motion by Commissioner Williams with support by Commissioner Snell. Thank you. Any further questions? All those in favor of the recommendation, please signify by saying aye or raising your thumb. Appears to pass unanimously. Thank you, members.
Thank you.
And thank you, Sarah, for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Next on our agenda, the monthly report by the Department on Aging. And I see Danielle. Good afternoon, Danielle.
Good afternoon. I'm just trying to get my video going here. So I apologize. Hi. For the monthly report, I just wanted to highlight our home care services, which is our homemaker and personal care program. Last month, I kind of highlighted some things regarding, one second here. Something came up on my screen, 1 second there. I highlighted the home delivered meal program. So this month I wanted to take a look at and say what's happening with our home care services and kind of do a comparison looking from 2018 to 2020. In 2020, you really kind of see the impact that the pandemic had on our home care services. That's the reason that you'll see a lot of the drop in the units, the number of people that we were serving, as well as the donations for the program and home care services. With our home care program, again, that program is there to help people that are 60 and older, to help live independently in their home with the support of maybe an aide going in to help with personal care, which might be helping them in and out of the shower, could be a bed bath, depending on what the person's situation is. And also as well as homemaking. What you find with our homemaker program is, of course, as people are trying to age in place and they're having health limitations, whether that's vision, mobility, that they need that assistance to help maintain their home environment, which helps to prevent falls, provides that connection where somebody can check on them. Again, when we have the people in the home, if we see things that are happening or a decline, that we're able to make a connection with a family member or whoever their emergency contact is, so that we can help keep them safe in their homes. With our home care services, we have 13 part-time staff as well as like 3 casual aides that are out there doing all of these services for us. We have a great group of workers right now, so we're fully staffed with that at this time. With the home care program, with the decline in the units, what we noticed is it was about March 23rd was the date that I wrote down, where we stopped going into the homes of the seniors during the height of the pandemic for us. At that time, we did not have the PPE in place to do the home care safely, and keep our workers safe and to keep our seniors safe. There was a lot that was unknown. It took a period of time for us to secure the items needed to put our workers back into the home. So we really didn't resume services until about the first week of June. So there was a long length of time when we were not in the homes of the seniors. It took a period of time also for us to build our home care workers schedules back up. We had to reach out to the seniors, let them know that we're ready to resume. Also to build their comfort level of us going into their homes. You know, there was a lot of information about the pandemic. They were worried, you know, what are we going to do to help keep them safe? What can they do in their home so that they're safe? You know, again, all that screening protocols that happen, again, using the PPE. So we were able to rebuild the schedule so that we have all our workers using the time available to see the seniors in the field. Currently, if I looked at the home care client numbers, we're at about 256 for January through February. Again, we're taking on new people to help build our program numbers back up. When we first restarted into the field back in 2020, we were rebuilding with our current clients and we were not taking new people on. But gradually it was like towards the fall time, October, November, when we were out there assessing to put new people onto the programs. Again, our drop in donations, as you can see, was quite evident. With the home care program that we have, it's a grant funded service, so people can donate back for the services that they receive. A general donation might be between $5 and $7 a visit. All donations, again, are confidential. Individuals that receive the program receive a donation letter like once a month, and they can donate back towards the service if they're able. Hopefully we'll see that rebound this year as we continue to put the services in place for the individuals. I also just wanted to highlight some survey results with the program. It talks about, am I getting the kind of assistance I expected? And really 100% of the people that we surveyed felt like they were getting the program that we had explained to them. So when we start the home care service, we have a social worker go out and do an assessment, make sure that we're fitting the needs of the senior, that their expectations of what our workers are going to do in the home is being met. And then, clients will, give us a call if there's something that needs to get adjusted on that plan, or the workers will let us know there's other things that are happening in the home so that we can make those adjustments. I think the biggest thing that I think within that survey question is, does the home care assistance you receive help you remain independently in your home? And 97% were able to say that that service does help them to remain independent in their home. And again, that's the big goal with our program. I put a couple of the comments that seniors had mentioned in there as well. Basically, what is most helpful? And somebody said someone to stay in contact with, and cleaning. Of course, the cleaning is a big part of the program, but it really is that personal connection. Sometimes seniors may go for weeks without seeing somebody in their family or feel really isolated, and just having our home care workers in the home helps, to keeps their spirits up, I guess I would say. There's a few more comments there that you can look over. And to highlight just the moment of excellence that we had somebody that was moving from her apartment into the hospice home, and she had called and made the comment that she appreciated all the service that we had done for her, and it helped me to stay in my home a lot longer than if she wouldn't have had it. And that really is the goal, of the services that we do, really just to help the seniors in our community. On the Congregate Senior Center program, I think there's a lot that we do on our home services, but we're also there to help enrich the lives and keep our seniors active in the community and do what we can to enhance their lives. And even just the simple things is when people are picking up like their congregate meals, we try to make it fun and lively for them, and try to bring some joy to them, and with just little experiences that we can offer. With the weather warming up, we can get back into having our music themes in the parking lot so we can bring people back into the building. Currently, we have a jelly bean contest going on, and we're already getting calls for that. We have a jar at the window where people are driving by, and we also send it out through an email, and people can vote on, how many, or put their, how many jelly beans they think are in the jar, and they get one for just calling in. But as they participate in activities, they can get up to 3 more chances, and everybody likes to win. So we have a $25 Myers gift card for the winner, and we also the second place person will win the jar of jelly beans. So again, just trying to think of different things while our center is closed down for people to participate in. Our exercise classes, our music classes, our painting classes, all of that just seems really popular. Again, we're there to help enrich the lives of the seniors. So that's my report for the month. Any questions?
Thank you, Danielle. Questions for Danielle?
Yes.
Questions for Danielle? Can I see Commissioner Williams, please?
Thank you. Hi, Danielle. I believe it was last month, we had, I believe we approved some trays for you guys. Did that all work out? I know there was much question to that.
Yes, the trays have already arrived. We buy in bulk. It's a large quantity, but it helps us to keep the cost down for that. So we have them stored in different areas right now, but we are thankful that we were able to get those trays.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to
Yes.
confirm. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nothing further.
Yes, I would agree. Okay, further questions for Danielle? Thank you for the hard work that you and your crew are doing all the time, Danielle. Appreciate it very much. The next item on the agenda is actually an amendment to the Department on Aging budget. Yeah, are you carrying the water on that one, Danielle?
Yes, I am. So.
Okay. Well, we'll let you continue to carry water then. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So we're asking for a budget amendment for 2021. And this is in relation to the CARES Act funding that we received. So we were awarded $124,464. So we want to put that, of course, into the budget so we can account for that and make sure that those dollars are spent, which they would be spent. We noticed that, of course, with the impact of COVID, which is still being felt. We are spending more in our food line budget than we had budgeted originally when we created the 2021 budget. That's where you see the biggest chunk of money. We had 515,000 originally budgeted for that, and it went up to, I put down 580,000. And just to give you an idea how I calculated that, of course, you know, when you guys are going to the grocery store, you're experiencing a higher cost with food supplies than when you're picking things up. And that's something that we're also experiencing. And last year, when we ended the 2020 budget, we spent 543,000, but we were able to help contain some of that cost, working with Van Eerden and also with CoPro, because when the schools had shut down, we were able to help purchase some of the food supplies that they had through a special waiver. So for example, a case of carrots, which might be 20, 25 pounds, we were able to purchase it for $5. Same like with corn and beans. We were able to purchase a lot of meat like hamburger and taco meat and try to incorporate those into our menu plans. And so we saw some cost savings. I would say cost savings. We were able to contain costs last year, even though our numbers really went up. Right now, I don't anticipate that with the schools being in session, a lot of them, that we're going to hear anything about a big cost savings, that we can purchase food again. If we did, that would be great. But right now, I don't have that available. But what we were noticing is that if I looked at 2020, the number of people that we served in February, it was 650 people throughout the month. 2021, I'm at 718 people. So my number of people continues to remain higher than what I was in 2020. I looked at where we were at with kind of like a 9-week average for spending, where we are spending currently. And we're spending about $11,245. And that includes like our Van Eerden order. It includes 2 milk deliveries. It includes a bread delivery. So if I just calculated the number, that 11,245 by the 52 weeks, we'd end up at about 584,740. So I figured that was a pretty good target. And that was the highest area on that adjustment that we were trying to make. We also had something in there for equipment, which was a $15,000. And this is something that was unique with the CARES Act, is that we would be able to purchase, I should say, a piece of equipment. And normally with all the grants that we have, that's nothing that's usually covered. So we were excited if we were able to go ahead and put that into the budget to cover the cost of a steamer. I included some costs for cleaning supplies. With our cleaning supplies, you know, that encompasses many things that we do. It's like our gloves, our mask, our hot bags, you know, things like that that might break down. Our carts, our coolers. We can also look at replacing some of our, plastic bins that they use for mixing up the salads and all of that. You know, anything that's might be either have a little bit of stain or it starts to look worn, those have to be replaced from the health department standards anyways. So those are things that we can go ahead and, you know, if there's anything we've held off on, to go ahead and get done. So I think those were, if there's questions about individual line items, I can help answer those.
Questions for Danielle concerning the proposed budget amendment?
Mr. Chair, if there's no further question, I'd like to offer a motion to pass this on to the full board.
I hear a motion. Is there support? Commissioner Bear supports. Any further discussion on the proposed budget amendment? Commissioner Mahoney, please, and then I'll get to Commissioner Bear.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Danielle. How are you today?
Good.
Good. Just a couple of quick questions, and it may just be one question. So basically this request for increase, he said, is coming from additional money that you got from the CARES Act. If by chance you don't spend all of that money or spend up to that budget amount, would the remaining amount go back to the general fund?
It actually would go into the senior millage funding. So we would spend less out of senior millage that will help, with that 10-year millage, that past 10-year millage. We would go ahead and we definitely want to save as much as we can all the time. So if there's ways for us to save money, we're going to do that and put the money back into the senior millage to help offset costs down the road.
Thank you. And now Commissioner Barrett, please. I'm sorry, Commissioner Mahoney, are you finished?
Yes, I am. I was just saying thank you.
Oh, very good. Sorry, didn't mean to stop on top of you. And Commissioner Barrett, please.
Hi, Danielle. The source of funds for this is from the CARES Act?
Yes.
Okay, so there's no additional monies coming from the county general fund?
No, not at all. No,
Thank you.
this was a grant that needs to be spent.
I suppose one of my ongoing questions when you do get money from a grant, which is very nice, is in some future period when that grant isn't there, then what? But I suppose we can cross that bridge when we come to it, Danielle, am I right?
Correct. And they may award something else in future with the CARES fund, but we're also hoping that we're going to continue maybe to see a downward trend over time with our meals so that we can focus on getting people into our congregate side. So our home delivered side is much higher right now. We want to get back over to our congregate side where we are able to have people come in and have lunches and participate in activities. There's funding for that as well. We just have to try to, again, make it safe for everybody so we can do that.
Okay, members, there is a motion properly before us. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye or showing the sign. Appears to pass unanimously. Thank you, members. Thank you, Danielle, for your hard work. Appreciate the
Thank you
presentation.
guys very much. Do you have a question, Daniel? Mr.
Yeah,
Mahoney?
this is actually for the chair. This will move to the full board, correct?
Yes, it's over 75,000 has to go to the full board.
Just wanted clarification.
Am I right, Mike? Okay, very good. Next item on the agenda is the MSU Extension Semi-Annual Report.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. First, thank you for the opportunity to present to you today. Second, I apologize that my report is not attached. I did try to attach it when I was uploading into Board Docs, but something must have happened along the way, so I apologize for you not having that. I will be sure that you get it uploaded there in the future. I didn't see it attached to the agenda.
It's in there, Matt.
Oh, you have it. Great. Okay, I didn't see it attached to the agenda, so thank you for that. I will go ahead and I will go ahead and share my screen anyway, just so any others that are watching can see my report. Just get that out of the way. There we go. Okay, so did want to just take a few minutes to highlight some of the work that we've been doing in Extension since the last time that I talked to you. So we've held 31 programs in Jackson, and of course those are primarily virtual since that time, but we did have 31 with 400 attendees. And then statewide programs, there have been 265 programs held that Jackson County residents did attend. Again, those are virtual, but and then with 739 attendees. And this does not count 4-H enrollments or any of our standing programs. These are additional programs to that I'm highlighting here on this slide. So next, this is where all of our virtual programs are located at the Remote Learning Resources website through Extension. So you can see that we have adult online learning resources, pandemic and tourism related topics, family community resources, health and wellness resources, local government, virtual learning tools. All of those places are available. There's several other sites located there as well. One of the upsides, I guess, if you will, to being in the pandemic for the last year is that we have moved a lot of our curriculum and materials to a virtual format that we didn't have in that environment before. And we have been able to have more residents from across the state participate in programming that maybe the staff aren't located in close proximity geographically to them. So giving them broader access to some of our programming resources has been a benefit to what we're doing. And we certainly see continuing to improve and increase those offerings over time, as well as working out hybrid models as we return to face-to-face experiences, hopefully in the very near future. Couple of online courses of particular that I would like to note. One is communicating through conflict during COVID. This was an opportunity to learn for staff and across our organization. All extension staff have taken this training and we've offered it to others as well. So it's certainly available to any of the counties that would choose to use it. It's just an online training course to help individuals think about those difficult conversations, maybe dealing with a client or somebody coming into an office that isn't willing to adhere to policies such as mask wearing, those kinds of things, and how you might communicate through that situation with those individuals. The next is tips for meeting virtually with 4-H clubs. So obviously maintaining 4-H engagement has been challenging during this time. 4-H is very much a hands-on, face-to-face experience. We've been very limited in that ability over the last several months. So ways to keep kids engaged is included, and I'll talk about some things that have specifically been done in Jackson to maintain engagement in just a few minutes. One project that has been highlighted to you in the past a few times, but just wanted to kind of let you know where we are now with it, is the emergency response to accidents involving livestock program that we've been working on. We do now have an equipped response trailer in place in Jackson Township, or Jackson County, excuse me, housed at Liberty Township Fire Department. That trailer was provided through township partnerships, and we were able, through grants, donations, and other means, to provide resources to stock that trailer. And so you can see the list of entities there that helped us get that trailer in place. You may have heard that just recently there was a livestock trailer rollover near Detroit. So that one of the next steps of having this trailer placed in Jackson is working out use agreements with other municipalities to be able to share that equipment as needed in the event that something like that happens in and around Jackson County. That's all handled through 911 currently now. Jason Breining's worked out a lot of those agreements to have that happen. But now looking at potentially making this trailer available to surrounding counties and municipalities if the event arises, that it could respond. So those are some of the next steps on the horizon. And then, of course, we continue to work with other municipalities and counties to have additional trailers placed throughout the state to make those responses that much more quick and efficient as well. Talking a little about 4-H program now. I mentioned 4-H engagement a minute ago. We've been working with Go Kits for our 4-H families. So a variety of different projects, some things that you might see as still project exhibits at the fair, those kinds of things. You can see bird feeders. There were some holiday ornaments that were done, and then as well as the sand gardening, those kinds of projects that we've been able to provide kits to families with some drop-offs on porches and such to get them the equipment that they need, or supplying materials lists and content as to how to do those projects together as a family during this time to try to keep 4-H members engaged. And of course, many of you are aware through other conversations and such, but we've been working really hard with the fair board and our fair partners and our volunteers to determine what our fair experience will be like in terms of MSU extension of 4-H participation, and making sure that we partner in the best way that we can to provide the best experience possible to youth that have fair projects and want to participate in that experience, and will help in whatever way we are able to make that experience viable this year for youth as we move forward, continue in those discussions. Moving on to nutrition and physical activity, been working a lot, again, moving a lot of that curriculum and material to a virtual environment. We're now in the process of being able to do food demonstrations again in a virtual capacity. We've worked out some scenarios to be able to work that out. This was a class that was held with David's Promise in the fall, working with cognitively impaired adults. Classes focused on eating healthier during the holidays. So things like adding more vegetables to holiday meals, using vegetables grown that they may have stored, and knowing which items to store in refrigerator, freezer, cupboard, those kinds of things. Additionally, we have a newer curriculum called Cooking for One. This has been a widely popular program. A lot of individuals out there cooking on their own. This is something that we are able to offer virtually. This is a curriculum that was developed through MSU Extension, focusing on the importance and some of the nuances of cooking for one individual around meal planning, budgeting, ways to continue to get some of the savings of buying more in bulk, but yet storing and using those things appropriately, and then getting used to smaller portion sizes and things like that. So trying to reduce food waste, increase budget utilization for those individuals, and then trying out some new recipes and making that healthier at the same time. So we're really excited about this curriculum, and we have had a very good response to it. Cooking Matters at Home. Again, the Cooking Matters program we've been doing for quite a long time, and it's another really successful program for adult engagement. And now we've moved it to a virtual at-home experience as well. We'd like to thank an AT&T grant for providing some gift card dollars for individuals to receive after they've attended 5 classes. It's a requirement of the Cooking Matters program that participants receive grocery funds as a part of their participation in the program for the use of the curriculum. We've done that through a variety of partnerships and grants and community foundations and things over time. In this case, AT&T provided the grant funds to be able to do that. So the focus is on meal planning, budgeting, and food safety, and also cooking as a part of your family if you have children engaged in that process as well. And we've received some very good response from that program in shifting that to a virtual environment. With our nutrition program also comes physical activity. And we've been working on ways to do that and increase that in a virtual capacity as well. So there's some physical activity guidelines recommending adults perform some muscle strengthening exercises at least 2 days per week. So Angela Maniaci, now Tate, is a member of our team here in Jackson as a community nutrition instructor. She's led the team statewide on some work from home project areas to enhance physical activity for adults and families in this environment as well. So just an example of that is just some 30-second exercises that could be done with some demonstration photos and a rest time after that, including the importance of water and hydration and all of that as well. So just a few of our highlights of things that we've been working on for the last few months since I've talked to you. Again, really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today and share some of those updates. Happy to answer any questions that you have about extension or extension programming.
Questions for MSU Extension by members? Any questions? Okay. Commissioner Mahoney, please.
Hi, Matt. How you doing?
Doing great, thanks.
Good, good. Just a quick question. Just wanted you to, if there's any additional details that you might be able to share with where MSU is at right now on in-person activities for the fair. Is it too early to kind of tell what direction things are going to go, or?
That's a great question. And what I will tell you is it's not definitive on what we're going to be able to do in August by any means, but I can tell you that we are moving forward in a face-to-face planning direction. So recently we provided a document of a few different scenarios by which we can engage with fairs in particular and kind of what the guidelines are around that. Shortly thereafter, we released to our staff a guidelines document on re-engaging in some face-to-face activities this spring. So we're kind of starting small and building our way up. So there's some outdoor activities. There's some other things that we haven't been able to have staff and volunteers doing over time. So we are moving that direction cautiously to return to face-to-face. And I think I anticipate, unless something changes with the course of the pandemic, I anticipate that we are making steps toward having some face-to-face engagement, and fairs may be a portion of that as we get into the summer months. So I'm encouraged by the direction that we've been going, and I'm happy to see that we're able to step forward on some things that we can do in a face-to-face nature this spring. We've done things like approved weigh-in and tagging of animals in a face-to-face nature. We've got some protocols for that so that we don't hold up the process for normal activities that would happen pre-fair. So those are some of the things that we've been doing to head that direction.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions for MSU? Thanks, Matt, for being here today. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
We'll now move on to the environmental health area. Item J relating to license fees. I think I saw Don Hayduk on here a while back. Did I see Don? There he is. Don, you have the floor.
Good morning, commissioners. Before you, you have a proposal similar to last year's, a few changes concerning extending the due date for the food establishment licensing fees. And the proposal is to delay it, our portion of the local fees, until August 31st. We do have the capability to do that. We did do that last year. This year, unlike last year, MDARD, Michigan Department of Agriculture, is not extending their due date. Now, the fees that the local establishments have to pay on an annual basis are about 90 to 95% local fees versus the MDARD fee. So the proposal to provide some economic relief, some cash flow assistance, if you will, is to delay the deadline from April 30th to August 31st for our fees. But we are requesting a $100 down payment that will pay the MDARD associated fees, as well as, partially offset some of the processing time that we have to do with the licensing. It's a pretty in-depth process. We are talking 425 to 450 establishments, paperwork and what have you. And then also another part of the proposal, as you can see from the staff report, is, after August 31st, if there are any outstanding fees, our usual late fee calculations would kick in. So that is the proposal before you.
Okay, thanks, Don. Questions by members of the committee, please. So, Don, I'll take the privilege of the chair and just tell you my observation is that this is a timing difference only as to the county budget. Normally, we would collect the fees a little sooner, but we're going to wait until the establishments have the summertime basically to get back on their feet before paying the rest. Am I correct?
That is correct, although I will say you can essentially count on the vast majority of the fees to be paid in full on time by April 30th, much like last year. Last year, we probably saw 90% of the establishments pay in full on time. I'm expecting the same situation this year. This provides those establishments, the smaller ones, if you will, some assistance if they choose to take that option.
Okay, so Chair will entertain a motion to move this proposal on to the full board with recommendation for approval. I see Commissioner Bear moving and Commissioner Snell seconding. Any comments before the vote? Okay, all members in favor of the proposal, please indicate by the thumbs up or aye. It looks to be unanimous. Thank you. Don, thank you for making the presentation today and for the suggestion.
One quick question.
Yes, sir.
Does this have to go to the full board, or am I to assume that this has been passed and we're ready to go and process the licenses and inform the restaurateurs of the decision?
I'll
It's
yield
a-
to Michael on that one.
It's a full board item. It'll be next Tuesday night.
Next Tuesday? Okay.
Yes. Is it okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the Health Department with the early on part-time position. And I think I saw Rashmi on the list of folks here.
Yeah, good afternoon,
There she is.
commissioners. Sorry, my camera's not working and I actually cleaned up to get on JTV later today. So sorry about that. So I'll go right into this early on program. We've had this program for a number of years at the health department. It has been a great partnership with our intermediate school district. They actually receive the money as the fiduciary from the state, and then it flows to us. We have a contractual arrangement with them. That made the position essentially a contractual position that we had for the program, and it worked pretty well until the person resigned, of course. And then when we went to fill the position, it became challenging to fill as a contractual level job in that we were asking the person to carry their own liability, things like that. And so we felt, as speaking as a health department team, that it would be prudent to move forward. And we did try filling it, excuse me. We did post it, we tried to fill it with HR's help and didn't have much luck there. So now we're revamping and looking at creating a part-time position utilizing the same funding source, which is essentially this contract we have with the ISD. The county covers a portion of that contract just as a good faith effort that we're supporting this program. And to back up a bit, I should remind you that Early On offers early intervention for infants and toddlers birth to 3 with developmental delays or disabilities and their families. So it's usually like a home visiting program, but of course we're doing stuff telehealth, and it helps them lead to better outcomes. So we're looking to, post this position as a part-time, so I need to bring it before you because we're creating a new position at a part-time level. So financially, we should be okay this year because we've covered our portion for the ISD. But I've also provided for fiscal year 2022, looking into the next year, what we would need to cover. And it's about a little less than $4,000, excuse me. And then I also, if I can work with human resources, just depending on the person's experience and education, we would look to either offer this as a step 1 or step 2 at the level K. So from there, I can entertain questions.
Questions from the committee for Rashmi?
I wanted to, sorry, Commissioner Pulaski, I also want to reiterate, we revamped the job description. We used to have this as a coordinator, and I heard all of you loud and clear at the budget discussions in terms of why do we have so many coordinators, and we're heavy on those. So we've actually absorbed a lot of the coordinator level activities under our community health coordinator, and we're looking to make this as a part-time caseworker type position. So a staff level position. Early on caseworkers, what it'd be called. Thank you, just wanted to add that in.
Okay, thank you. I'm not seeing a plethora of, Commissioner Bear will ask a question. Go ahead, Commissioner Bear.
Hello, Rashmi.
Hi, Commissioner Bear.
I'm confused here. We have a step 1 and we have a step 2
Yeah.
position. Are you recommending one or the other, or are you recommending both?
No, it would be one or the other, Commissioner Bear. Again, it depends on, we don't know what kind of applicants we're going to get and with what level of experience or degree. We did ask in the job description for somebody with early education experience, looking at certain qualifications in education, but we don't know what kind of applicants we're going to get. So if you allow me to work with HR, I just wanted to provide you the cost differential there.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Chair will entertain a motion to adopt the Health Department recommendation for action by the board next week. I see Commissioner Bear is moving, thank you, and Commissioner Williams supports. Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by thumbs up or the eye. Appears to be unanimous. Thank you. Thanks, Rashmi. And now we'll move on to your monthly report.
Great, thank you. I'll start off with health education, health promotion, which is one of our divisions. You can see there, I won't read off the numbers, but essentially this school year, what we've done in our hearing and vision screenings. We do try to do those face-to-face because it's difficult to do those via telehealth. We've been somewhat limited in our ability to do those based on the schools that have been closed or doing remote services. So we continue to be challenged there, but you know, the state has not changed that as a requirement to screen school-age children for hearing and vision. So we try to keep up on those, and you can see the numbers there. Still doing fairly well in terms of trying to reach those children, but it has been a challenge, just to let you know. And then in our teen pregnancy prevention initiative and TOP, which is our teen outreach program, you'll see there, those are the kiddos that we work with in the various, shouldn't call them kiddos, excuse me, high schoolers that we work with to try to do some outreach there and do some positive program outcomes, as well as mentoring there, you know, get them hooked up with, you know, where they can potentially seek jobs, do some things with their resume, things like that. So we've had pretty good progress there, doing some things remote, doing some things by small group in person. And then we just submitted our United Way grant report that United Way financially supports a portion of this program. Medical oversight marijuana, as you recall, this is a grant program through the state, not county funded. We recently purchased 100 marijuana bags, lock bags, if you will, so that folks can keep their supplies safely away from children, youngsters, things like that. 13 bags were distributed last week, along with education regarding pregnancy and safe in marijuana use, safe driving, and how to talk to teens about marijuana. So these are, if you will, the focus groups that we've been trying to get to so that we can do some education there about the safety of this product, or medical marijuana specifically. And then we've got Empowering Youth Today grant, EYT, also a program that is geared toward youth for good outcomes. We began programming February 4th, and we've had, you know, small groups again implement and looking to implement school-based programming again in the fall, but again, will likely be met with some challenges considering schools are struggling with, you know, whether they go in person or remote this fall. Generation with Promise is another program under Health Ed. This is one that we do to talk about healthy curriculum, nutrition, healthy eating, physical activity. We began that in February. It'll run through April. We work with Head Start in collaboration with that, so it's a good partnership there. Women, infants, and children, we continue to have a high caseload there. It's a popular, obviously it's as you can imagine, a program that's very well used right now, in particular as folks are in need. You can see our caseload numbers there, you know, just exceeding our caseload numbers, are those being served, as you can see from January is the latest numbers we have, not yet February, 4,441. So we kind of stay at that 4,400 caseload, which is more than we usually have, but you know, we've been doing good trying to get people services remotely as we can, and then education, nutrition, things like that. Again, it's a valuable program in that folks need to continue to get their benefits, in particular in a time like this when folks may not be working or reduced hours or things like that, and the challenges they're facing there. Our Division of Personal and Preventative Health, it's our maternal infant health program, children's special health care services, and lead. 3 different programs there, just kind of lump them all in one paragraph to condense the report. We've done telehealth visits in all of these programs that we've done, submitted 49 plans of care for children's special health care. And if you recall, that's a program that helps children with special needs, about 2,000 plus diagnoses that are covered under there. Usually we do home visits, help people navigate through the medical system, things like that. Then we've had in our maternal infant health program a review by the state. We did have 3 not met indicators. However, we had a lot of positive comments from the state overall. They selected records at random, and now we have to submit corrective action plans for these 3 items, mainly talking about follow-up visits, or excuse me, it's about conducting follow-up visits and documenting the charts appropriately. So, it is a challenge to meet the needs of this population sometimes, in that it can be a transitory population or a population experiencing a lot of challenges, whether it's with housing or transportation or things of that nature. So, it can be challenging to keep up with that clientele, and our nurses, or excuse me, our staff there. We have a social worker in that program that does a wonderful job, keeping up with clients. To date, we've done 115 telehealth visits there, and we have 29 newly open maternal and infant child cases. And lead, I don't believe we had any new lead visits that I recall. If that's different, I will let you know, but I don't believe we had. Communicable disease. So this is one, of course, we're in COVID, and that's a communicable disease in and of itself, but we also respond to other communicable disease events. Most recently, concerning that we had a case of mumps of an unvaccinated child that exposed potentially other children in a child care facility. This is concerning in that mumps is probably a disease you hadn't heard of for a while. Most people are vaccinated with it or against it. However, it's alarming that once in a while, a great while, luckily, we see cases like this pop up. So it's crucial that we keep up on immunization rates. While it's been challenging, it's the same nurses that are responding to COVID that would work on immunizations. Trying to educate parents about the value of immunizations and trying to keep those numbers low. So one case may not seem like a lot, but it is when we haven't heard about this disease in quite some time. And then the other parts that you see here, as I just kind of mentioned, is the whole piece on immunizations and keeping up with those while maintaining our COVID response activities as well. So I'm hoping we can get to offering immunizations on a more regular basis here in the future as COVID, we continue to respond to COVID, but as that kind of, as we start to get into the vaccinations there and hopefully move into a realm where we can get back to offering some of our regular programming. We continue to offer an immunization clinic, though, just so you know. We've suspended that, but we're doing a sexual health clinic, again, because the same staff would be working in both programs, or all three programs. Moving on to environmental health, you just heard from Don on the food program. Another one I wanted to alert you to is, some of you may be aware, this is a historical project we've worked on with DEGL, Department of Environment and Great Lakes, and the quality? No, I can't remember. But anyway, it's the State Department Environment. Thank you so much, Earl. Thank you, Commissioner Pileski. On the Albro Creek Watershed Project for about 8 to 10 years now. We conduct the creek sampling. We have conducted the creek sampling in the past. And this is about E. coli levels that have shown up before at the level of the creek. And what we offer is to walk the stream, identify potential illicit discharges, conduct a search of our records for well and septic, and work with any property owners to identify any illicit septic system discharge. So the grant pays for the stream sampling and other tasks so that this total maximum daily loading can be lifted. So it's an ongoing project. So we offer these services in kind. Starts August 21st, ends July 2022. You will find that majority of the bacterial contamination is probably coming from agriculture and not homestead septic systems, which good there for private home dwellers. So helps to identify these repairs and get owners to pay permit fees to the county to fix these systems if they need to do so. So that grant's been submitted. It is a partnership with the County Conservation District, County Drain Office, GIS, and the Health Department. Soil erosion and sedimentation control. We've had our newest sanitarian currently awaiting his results on his plan review certification. So we continue to keep up staffing in this program. We also continue to review that program and see where we can make changes potentially to, if we need to move it to another department. But staffing tries to keep up with their certification and maintain that as we still continue to do the service under the Health Department. Blackman Charter Township, just real quick, action level exceedance on lead. This is the one that, if you recall, there was some sampling that occurred. At this point, no samples have tested a level that would require further action. However, water filters continue to be made available through the state. to those that qualify. And excuse me while I turn my page. So it's eligible for households with children or pregnant women who are unable to afford water filters from various stores, such as home improvement stores. We've passed out, I believe, 2 to 3 at this point. So, but we continue to do education there and let folks know if they do qualify, those are available to them through the state. Moving on to our ever popular topic of COVID-19. We are closely reaching the 1-year mark, I believe in a couple weeks of when we had our first case. I'll give you the newest numbers as of today. We have 9,410 cases, 219 deaths, 8,728 recovered. In comparison to Saturday, that's about 39 more cases and 2 more deaths. So we're staying somewhat steady. That's a little bit of an increase, but not much of a jump. Caseload continues to trend a bit downward, which is good news. Also, hospitalizations as of the 3rd have stayed at 9 hospitalizations at Henry Ford. So we continue to stay on that trend, which is good news. However, we're trying to maintain vaccination rates at a good level in terms of being able to reach a large, portion of our county, people in our county who meet those priority groups. Also, as an example, we are at about 4.5% positivity rate. So that again continues to trend downward. So you can see all of our data since I mentioned March, reaching that 1-year anniversary, and what the caseloads have looked like. So you can see the trend in that table and the number of deaths that have occurred. On our vaccination front, we continue to offer vaccinations. As of time of writing this report, this hadn't occurred yet, but I'll be going on JTV later to explain the expansion of the priority groups. As of today, 50 years plus who have chronic comorbidity or under conditions can be qualified to receive the vaccine. So that opens the group quite a bit, but we are simultaneously also vaccinating the agricultural agricultural groups that are specifically named by the state, such as meat processing plants, food production plants, things like that. And then also we're still continuing to work with 65 plus. And then the 4th group that we'll be attempting to reach in the next couple weeks will be 50 years and older, any individuals that, if we didn't reach them when they had, if they didn't have chronic conditions, things like that. So we'll be simultaneously vaccinating 4 priority groups at one given time. As far as supply of vaccine, fairly still small or fairly slow still in terms of what the state's been giving us. We continue to place orders for all 3 vaccines, actually, now that Johnson & Johnson's available as well. But we haven't yet seen that huge influx and been able to do some long-term planning. So we've probably done as a county, probably close to 8,000 vaccinations as the health department. I think we're at 39,000, if not a little more than that as a county. That's between Henry Ford, ourselves, pharmacies. We've partnered with quite a bit of pharmacies in our county, and that's worked out well. Yeah, I think that might be it that I can cover at this point. I know it's a lot of information. What questions do folks have?
Okay, questions for the health department? I'm not hearing any. Rashmi, we appreciate the work that you and your crew are doing. I personally have an appointment on Wednesday morning for a vaccination, so
awesome.
Looking forward to that.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We will move on to the claims. Chair will entertain a motion to pay the claims. Commissioner Snell, and supported by, I'm sorry, I'm not seeing Tony. Where's Tony? There he is. Thank you, Tony. Sorry, I got my screen a little smaller. Yeah, all in favor of paying the claims then, please show the sign, say the word. Appears to be unanimous. Thank you. Other minutes is up. And the DHHS board meeting, the monthly board meeting of DHHS is there for your review. Reporting schedule is next. Next month, we will hear from Lifeways, the Health Department, the Department on Aging, Michigan Works, and the Region 2 AAA. We are now at public comment. This is 2-minute public comment. Please let us know your name should you be commenting. And do we have folks who would like to make public comment?
We have one public comment, Sandra Hoffman, Kingston.
Oh, okay, Sandra, you're up.
Hi. I'm really amazed with the scope of the county's authority, all the different organizations that work with you and for you. Just more fodder to think about. Thank you. That's it. Have a good day, gentlemen and ladies.
Thank you, Sandra. Committee member comments. Any committee member comments? Not seeing any, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. By Commissioner Bear, supported by Commissioner Snell. All in favor, show the sign. And we are adjourned to the call of the chair. Thank you, everyone.